What is it all about?
The Producers is a musical adapted by Mel Brooks and Thomas Meehan from Brooks's 1967 film of the same name, with lyrics written by Brooks and music composed by Brooks and arranged by Glenn Kelly and Doug Besterman. As in the film, the story concerns two theatrical producers who scheme to get rich by fraudulently overselling interests in a Broadway flop. Complications arise when the show unexpectedly turns out to be successful. The humor of the show draws on ridiculous accents, caricatures of homosexuals and Nazis, and many show business in-jokes. After 33 previews, the original Broadway production opened at the St. James Theatre on April 19, 2001, starring Nathan Lane and Matthew Broderick, and ran for 2,502 performances, winning a record-breaking 12 Tony Awards. It spawned a successful West End production running for just over 2 years, national tours in the US and UK, many productions worldwide, and a 2005 film version.
Act 1.
In New York in 1959, theater producer Max Bialystock opens Funny Boy, a musical version of Hamlet. It is terrible, and the show closes after one performance. Max, who was once called the King of Broadway, tells a crowd of down and outs of his past achievements and vows to return to form. The next day, Leo Bloom, a mousy accountant, comes to Max's office to audit his books. When one of Max's little old lady investors arrives, Max tells Leo to wait in the bathroom until she leaves. She plays a sex game with Max, who eventually persuades her to give him a check to be invested in his next play, to be called Cash. Leo reveals his lifelong dream. He's always wanted to be a Broadway producer. After a panic attack when Max touches his blue blanket, Leo tells Max that he has found an accounting error in his books. Max raised $100,000 for Funny Boy, but the play only cost $98,000. Max begs Leo to cook the books to hide the discrepancy. Leo reluctantly agrees. After some calculations, he realizes that under the right circumstances, a producer could actually make more money with a flop than he can with a hit. You could have raised $1 million, put on your $100,000 flop, and kept the rest. Max proposes a scheme. Step 1, we find the worst play ever written. Step 2, we hire the worst director in town. Step 3, we raise $2 million. One for me, one for you. There's a lot of little old ladies out there. Step 4, we hire the worst actors in New York and open on Broadway, and before you can say Step 5, we close on Broadway, take our $2 million, and go to Rio. However, Leo refuses to help Max with his scheme. When he arrives at work 6 minutes late, Leo's horrid boss, Mr. Marks, reminds him that he is a nobody. While he and his miserable co-workers slave over accounts, Leo daydreams of becoming a Broadway producer. He realizes that his job is terrible, quits, and returns to Max. The next day, they look for the worst play ever written. Max finds a surefire flop that would offend people of all races, creeds and religions. Springtime for Hitler, a gay romp with Adolf and Eva at Berchtesgaden, written by ex-Nazi Franz Liebkind, which Max describes as a love letter to Hitler. They go to the playwright's home in Greenwich Village to get the rights to the play. Franz is on the roof of his tenement with his pigeons reminiscing about the grand old days. The producers get him to sign their contract by joining him in singing Adolf Hitler's favorite tune and reciting the Siegfried Oath, under penalty of death, promising never to dishonor the spirit and the memory of Adolf Elizabeth Hitler. Next, they go to the townhouse of flamboyant homosexual Roger Debris, the worst director in New York. At first, Roger and his common-law assistant Carmen Guyot decline the offer to direct because of the serious subject matter. After much persuading and invoking the possibility of a Tony Award, Roger agrees and tells them the second act must be rewritten so the Germans win World War II. Max and Leo return to the office to meet the Swedish bombshell who wants to audition for their next play, Ulla Inga Hansen Benson Jansen Talen Holland Spaden Swanson. She auditions for them. The producers are impressed, mostly by her sex appeal, and hire her to be their secretary/receptionist. Max leaves to raise $2 million for a springtime for Hitler by calling on all the little old ladies in New York, which he does.
Act 2.
Leo and Ulla are left alone in Max's office, redecorated by Ulla, and they start to fall in love. Max walks in and sees the perfect form of Ulla's covered behind. At the auditions for the title role, Hitler, one terrible actor after another is rejected by Roger in summary fashion. Finally, Franz performs his own jazzy rendition of Haben Sie gehört das Deutsche Band, at the end of which Max stands up and shouts, "That's our Hitler." Opening night arrives, and Franz falls down the stairs and breaks his leg. Roger is the only one who knows the part of Hitler, and he rushes to the dressing room to get ready. The curtain rises, and Max and Leo watch the theatrical disaster unfold. Unfortunately, Roger's performance is so camp and outrageous, the audience mistakes it for satire, and the show becomes the talk of the town. Back at the office, Max and Leo are near suicidal. Roger and Carmen come to congratulate them, only to find them fighting over the accounting books. Franz bursts in, waving a pistol, outraged by Roger's portrayal of his beloved Führer. Max suggests that he shoot the actors, not the producers, as a way to close the show. The police hear the commotion and arrest Franz, who breaks his other leg while trying to escape. They also arrest Max and take the books. Leo hides. Ulla finds him and persuades him to take the $2 million and run off to Rio with her. In Gale awaiting trial, Max receives a postcard from Leo and, feeling betrayed, recounts the whole show. At his trial, Max is found incredibly guilty, but the now married Leo and Ulla arrive to tell the judge that Max is a good man who has never hurt anyone despite his swindling. The judge is touched by this and decides not to separate the partners, sending both, plus Franz, to Sing Sing prison for 5 years. In prison, they write a new musical entitled Prisoners of Love, which goes to Broadway, starring Roger and Ulla, and they are pardoned by the governor. Leo and Max become the kings of Broadway and walk off into the sunset. Everyone comes back for one last song, telling the audience that they have to leave.
The